In a corner of the Arabian Peninsula, tucked away between desert and sea, there's a nation that truly charts its own course. It's a place where ancient forts cast these long shadows over modern highways. A place where the past isn't just something you remember, it's something you live. This is the story of Oman, a nation defined by a quiet and really remarkable balance.
So how does a country do that? How does it hold on to its ancient soul while racing towards a modern future? That's really the central question of Oman. It's a land of these stark, beautiful contrasts, almost like a puzzle written in sand and sea. And to figure it out, we first have to understand the land itself.
At its core, Oman is a child of the desert. A vast, gravelly plain stretches right across its interior. It's a landscape of just immense scale and this profound silence, shaped over millennia by basically nothing more than wind and sun.
But then, this incredible desert landscape completely gives way to something else, its other defining feature, a massive coastline where the land meets the Arabian Sea. And you have to understand, for Omanis, this water was never, ever a boundary. No, it was a highway to the rest of the world.
When you're here, time itself just feels different. You can feel it in the silent walls of its ancient forts. You hear it in the stories carried on the breeze. It's this living, breathing connection to a world that's thousands of years old.
And then you arrive in a capital city like Muscat, and it's a city of gleaming infrastructure, global connections, looking so confidently towards the future. This right here, this is the Omani paradox. And to understand how these two worlds can possibly coexist, we've got to journey back to where it all began.
You see, Oman's story doesn't start with the discovery of oil. Not even close. It begins deep in antiquity, and it was forged not by what was under the sand, but by its complete mastery of the seas and the incredible treasures of its land.
Think about this. As far back as 2300 BCE, ancient Sumerian tablets were talking about a distant land they called Magan, a vital source of copper for the great civilizations of Mesopotamia. Well, that land was Oman. It was a player on the world stage more than 4,000 years ago.
This long history of trade and connection, it created this profound sense of self. This isn't some modern nation that was just created by 20th century borders. No, this is the oldest independent state in the entire Arab world, with a path that is uniquely its own.
And this history, it just unfolds over millennia. After the age of copper came the era of frankincense, this precious resin from its southern hills that was once literally worth its weight in gold. And all that wealth? It fueled a maritime power. By the 17th century, Omani forces had kicked out the Portuguese colonizers and started building their own empire. At its peak in the 19th century, that empire stretched all the way down the coast of East Africa, with a second capital in Zanzibar. This was a global power, built not on oil, but on the open sea.
But by the middle of the 20th century, that outward-looking empire had turned inward. It had closed itself off from the world. And then, in a single year, absolutely everything changed.
Under the rule of Sultan Said bin Timur, Oman was almost frozen in time. It was a feudal, deeply isolationist state, deliberately shielded from all the forces of modernity. It's hard to even imagine, but slavery was still legal. The gates of the capital city were literally locked every single night.
This is the year, 1970. This is the year that defines modern Oman. In 1970, Sultan Said was deposed by his son, Qaboos bin Said, in a completely bloodless coup, and it marked the beginning of what Omanis today call the Renaissance.
The speed of the change was just breathtaking. Before 1970, Oman had just 3 modern schools, a handful of hospital beds for the entire country. After 1970, a massive program of development just exploded. Roads, ports, schools, and hospitals, they all seemed to emerge right out of the sand. Slavery was abolished. An entire modern state was built, pretty much from scratch, all within a single generation.
And the result of all this was just unprecedented. In 2010, the United Nations delivered its verdict. Oman was the most improved nation on earth over the preceding 40 years. It was a leap from the medieval to the modern in a single lifetime.
So what does this nation, born of such a dramatic, rapid change, look like today? Well, it's a country that's very carefully navigating its path, trying to balance the incredible riches of its past with all the demands of the future.
Now, the economy, for now, is still powered mostly by oil and gas. But unlike some of its neighbors, Oman is really aware that these resources won't last forever. So there is a major push to diversify, with a big focus on using its stunning natural beauty for tourism and building up its industrial and logistics sectors.
But Oman's stability isn't just about the economy. Its modern identity really rests on three ancient pillars. First, there's the tribe. That's the foundational social structure. It provides community. Second, its unique form of Islam, Ibadism, which is an early and moderate school of thought that fosters this really rare culture of tolerance. And third, its enduring maritime legacy, that outward-looking perspective that has always connected Oman to the wider world.
And you can see this heritage of connection reflected in its foreign policy. In a pretty turbulent region, Oman is known as the quiet diplomat, right? A bridge builder that somehow maintains friendly relations with all sides, including both Iran and its Arab neighbors.
And so, that brings us back to where we began, to the contrast that really defined this remarkable country: desert and sea, ancient and modern. You know, maybe we've been asking the wrong question this whole time. Maybe these aren't contradictions at all. What if the tension between these forces isn't a weakness, but the very source of Oman's unique strength? This quiet confidence, a deep-rooted identity, and a patient, steady gaze towards the horizon.
In a world that so often demands that we choose one thing over another, Oman has chosen a different path, the path of balance. The question that's left, I think, is a profound one. In a region and in a world defined by such rapid and often disruptive change, can this delicate and enduring balance actually hold?